because they got to do a new agreement with Sung for it.
All right. Well, we are live now. That's funny. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Life is good. There's a lot. Actually, nobody's seen Klein and all that run either. Yeah.
I don't think so.
No. All right. We'll
don't
do all
think
that. Okay, sure. And there are things I want to work on for the next 2 hours. But before we start, Allie is making us coffee. Hasn't come in yet. But I told Kevin I got to teach him how to. Now, Kevin, rule number 1 about Yoo-hoo: only drink it out of the can.
Got it.
Only ever drink it out of the can. It just hits differently. 2, you turn it upside down. Take it. You have to shake it.
Why upside down?
Because all the good chocolate is sitting at the bottom of the can. You got to get that out. You got to shake this. Look, on camera. Okay? A full 60-second shake to the point where you don't hear it anymore because
I don't hear it.
Uh,
Yeah, I don't hear it.
No. You can't now. There is a trick that nobody knows. You can't use it with Yoo-hoo though. I don't know why. You wanna mess with somebody at a party. Take a can of Coke, a can of soda. You shake it like this, like in front of them while you're talking to them. Just go like this. Hey, what's going on? Now, you stop shaking and you keep talking to them, and try to not let them see you turn the can. If
Like
you turn the can 10 times, it won't explode. Now, they don't know that. So while you're standing there, get them to focus on you and not the can, and you turn it 10 times. Once you finish turning it 10 times, just like this fast, right? Like not too fast, but go and open it right in front of them like this. They will panic and nothing will happen.
Really?
Yeah. Now,
why?
For some reason, the turn for the can, when it comes to Yoo-hoo, it doesn't work. So open this over here a little bit. But even that, look, it stopped. The Yoo-hoo might need like 15 turns.
Okay, yeah.
Yoo-hoo might need 15. 10 turns. But you have to do it like nobody's seeing it.
Yeah, you just
put it on the side and you're doing it like this. Dude, it's hilarious.
That is good. Oh, it tastes like Nesquik.
Yeah, but it's no milk, man. Oh no, Florin, you got to try it. 10 turns, not like, and it won't explode. Now, we're still waiting for a little coffee, but dude, Yoo-hoo's good. I grew up.
It is good. It is
so
good.
Today's show is sponsored unofficially by Yoo-hoo. Gotta have your Yoo-hoo, man. Poor Florin doesn't get Yoo-hoo in Romania. Next time he comes to the States, I'm gonna give him some Yoo-hoo.
What's like your equivalent, Florin? Like, what's your guys' chocolate?
Equivalent to Yoo-hoo? It's not chocolate milk. I don't know why all you Latin people cannot comprehend this. Now I'm in trouble. I said all you Latin people. All the Latin people in my life don't understand this Yoo-hoo thing is not chocolate milk.
It's got to be chocolate milk.
I just reduced my circle. I just reduced my circle of trouble. First of all, let me just say this too before we start.
Oh, okay. Florin does
You're all confused about chocolate milk. The best chocolate milk is Ovaltine. I don't want to hear it. There's nothing better than Ovaltine.
Ovaltine?
Ovaltine.
What is that?
That's a chocolate milk mix. Okay? Ovaltine. Okay? Not the Nesquik. It's nothing. All your, what is it? Lindo or something? No. Nino. What is it called? The one? Milo.
Oh, Milo.
Milo.
Yeah.
No. Ovaltine. Once you drink Ovaltine, that's it. You can't drink any other chocolate milk. In fact, the girls would tell me that they didn't like the Ovaltine. So one day, when the Nesquik box was empty, I put Ovaltine in the box. And then they were making chocolate milk. I was like, how's your chocolate milk? Oh, it's great. It's Nesquik. And I didn't say nothing. And then eventually I said, you've been drinking Ovaltine, right?
That's funny. My favorite was always the Nesquik, but the strawberry one. I like strawberry milk.
I like strawberry milk too. If I go to a convenience store, I'm buying the strawberry milk, not the chocolate milk. Okay, enough fooling around here. I would show you the soda thing, but I don't want to do that right now. Just try it. Try it on your own first.
Yeah.
I promise you, it's not going
Figure
to
out the-
explode. If it explodes, I will send you $1. Okay, I will send you $1 if it
Okay.
explodes. That's my guarantee. You got to turn it 10 times though.
You know, I just like reached a really exciting point in my life because I got a mini fridge.
How old
now.
are you?
23.
23-year-old got a mini fridge in his room
I got a mini fridge in my room,
because he
and
didn't
I've
go to
never been happy.
college. He didn't go to away to college.
I didn't go away. I didn't go
So
away.
okay, thank you, baby. Now Allie just gave us what we really. This is why I've been
Coffee.
stalling. I don't know if I can get it on camera here, but
If it'll focus.
I'm gonna call it the Colombian, not the Cuban coffee. It's the Colombian coffee
Colombian
in
coffee.
Cuban style.
Yes.
And she got a good foam today. I don't know how she does that. This Colombian coffee is a little it's a finer grain, so it's just a little bit harder to make right. But
And with the chocolate.
Lauren came over to my house, so he got to experience some of this.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
That's cool.
Lauren came over, so he got to experience. Yeah. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is fix a bug that we have in this UI. So when you run the Kronk model server, we have this website and we have this under run, this chat. And Florin uses chat quite a bit to test models. And so he's been enhancing this chat for him. He started to now add, where's my cursor? He started to add all these settings to it, which is kind of cool. So he can then start sort of making these sort of changes while he runs. I'll show you some other changes we made too, which have been really good. However, there's a bug here. So in Kronk, we have, let's start here. Kronk, the core of Kronk, everything that makes Kronk is this models package. So anytime we have to touch this models package, I get really nervous because this is like the core to everything. And we have to be really careful. Everything else sort of serves models. Now, in models, under this params, we have what I define as the default parameters when you don't pass any parameters in. So if you don't pass in temperature, then we're going to use 0.8. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've worked very hard to make sure that both model config, which is here, these are the model config, where are the model config defaults? There's not a lot of defaults that you have to worry about, because then if you don't do something, Llama has defaults. And Florin gave me a document of all the Llama defaults, which I'm going to put in here.
Okay.
But these are our defaults if you don't set a context window size or these batch sizes or things like that. But we're not talking about model config just yet. We're talking about these. Okay.
Okay. So you have model config and then you have parameters.
You have parameters that you make on the call. So when you look at examples chat, you can see that when we make the call, right? I've done this. But if I don't add these, then you're going to use those defaults, right? Because you got to have something for the samplers.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, and I've worked really hard to make sure that there's only one place for all the defaults, no matter where you are in the system. Now, Florin decided that he wanted to set some defaults, right, outside of the main defaults in the model config. Now, one thing you got to remember about this model config, it's only for the Kronk model server, technically. I mean, that's what it's here for. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, but let's just focus on that for now. So the idea is that if you use this model, then the default should be 0.7, not 8.
Yeah.
Okay. So now with that in place, what Florin added, and this is the code I have to start looking at, is in the catalog package. I'll talk more about why it's in the catalog package. But for now, what we have is this concept of a default sampling config, which will give you this object back, okay? Well, the idea is that you see the YAML.
Yep.
So the idea is that we should be able to read the model config, which we would, and then you start with the defaults. And then the idea is that you would change this out, right? Based on what's inside the model config. So here's the YAML. What Florin did is he added sampling parameters.
Yep.
Okay, to this. And then he came in here and he said, okay, let's read this in. And so now your model config has sampling options. Now, I think I see the bug already just walking through this with everybody, but let's just start here. So the next thing we did is we have a models endpoint. Everybody has a models endpoint. Like that's what these sort of open web UI uses it. Everybody uses it to get the list of models, okay? So Florin, what he did is he added this idea of saying with a query parameter, extended config. So if we pass extended config and it's true, then what he's going to do is attach these sampling configs for this UI, right? Like open web UI. I don't think it. Now, if we looked at what if we were to look to see if open web UI gets these parameters too somehow, then we probably would be good because it would be more standard, right? Something we can do.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet. So this is what, now I know where the bug is now, but I don't know how to fix it yet. So here's the code. And what happens is Florin creates this map, okay? He goes through the model config for every model, okay? And then adds a key. And then he basically just takes the defaults with defaults. So from what I saw in this code, this is, okay, so here's the sampling config, but this is a method off of, okay. One of the reasons I'm confused is this method's in the wrong place. So let's start here. This method belongs here because it's attached to this type, right?
Okay.
So that's the first thing that's confusing me, that it's not with its type. This is some function that returns a default sampling config. You know me, I always like the idea of a type, some sort of function, which is basically returning this, which is defaults. And then there's a method here with default. So the idea is that you have a sampling config and you are updating it only if these are set to their 0 value. So ideally, if temperature is 0, then we'll use the default. So
Got it. Okay.
there's a part of me that's wondering if we're not here, right? Because it all depends on this sampling value, where the sampling value is coming from. So let's just read this code a little bit more. This code's doing some other things, but...
And they would be 0 value if they were missing?
Yeah, if you just construct something, right?
Yeah.
All into its empty state.
Okay.
Now, the question, though, is where is this variable coming from? It's coming from... okay. It's coming from the model config. And that... Okay, so this actually should be working if we're reading the right model. Now, I think what the problem is this too lower stuff.
Oh.
One of the things, Florin, that I got rid of in one of the last changes was this too lower stuff. I want the ID to be the ID. there's only one place where I was forced to do too lower, and that is on the file system. So on the file system, I make sure that everything is laid out in lowercase. So hold on. So this is, I introduced this bug to Florin, and I knew it was going to be me. But I did this work yesterday. So on your file system, everything has to be lowercase. It really should. Actually, I'm not even doing lowercase on the file system, am I? That's weird. We got to look at that problem. So I'm not even doing lowercase. I did lowercase.
That one is.
I thought I was doing lowercase on the file system. But look, that's not lowercase.
No, the Quen.
That's not lowercase.
Yeah.
That's not lowercase. So, hold on. Okay. Let's look specifically. I'm looking for stuff like in the tools and stuff. Yeah, that's not it. Let's look.
Model.
No, don't care about that. Don't care about that. Don't care about that.
The models.
This bothers me. Here's a problem, right? There's this. I started doing some things where I said, let's just make everything lowercase. And then at some level, I stopped doing that.
Okay.
So,
because I would think the point of making it all lowercase is so it's all consistent.
I know,
right?
but then you got to call this function everywhere. And then
Yes.
what happens is the model, sometimes it shows it's all lowercase, sometimes it doesn't. And so you end up with this sort of massive inconsistency, right? Now,
Okay.
when I look at this function here, which is creating the model index, right? Look at what it's doing, saying too lower. So if I were to look at this model index, dude, what just happened here?
They just like split your screen. It's on the top.
Weird.
I've never done that.
No, I don't know why I did that. That has never happened to me before. Yeah. You see, I wrote everything into the index as lowercase here.
Okay.
Now I have backwards compatibility problems with that. But that should be isolated to this code because the only thing reading the index is this. But you could start to see the problems you have when you decide that some things are going to be lowercase and some things aren't, right?
Yeah.
Now, this shouldn't be my problem because that's an index. I could do what I want on the index. And then here's retrieve info. So this is where you get in trouble, right? Retrieve the details for a specific model. I made it lowercase. I go to retrieve file. Retrieve file goes to retrieve path. I'm doing too lower again.
You're doing the too lower. Yeah.
Like, you see the mess that I sort of created here? Now, this has to be too lower because I'm reading my model index is what I'm expecting that to be, right? And I know that's in too lower. But this is interesting because if I go back, this is unnecessary, isn't it? Like, just if we read the code, I went too lower to come in here. Model ID is used here. Now the problem is you get it back too lower.
Yeah. But then you go and retrieve path again, and into retrieve path.
Right.
And it
so
does it
this
too
is
lower again.
This is what I'm trying to say, right? Like, that shouldn't be too lower. How any of that is working is beyond me. So we're going to break some stuff now.
Okay.
Okay. I know this has to be too lower because I'm reading into the index and I made all that lowercase. Whatever.
Oh, okay.
Fine,
I understand
right?
now.
That's a local thing.
Yes.
This was like a big mess I made. Now, this is also an index on tools models.
The current.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we know that that has to be too lower because that's the index, right? And we know that has to be too lower because we're putting it back inside of an index. So right, everything from an index perspective is too lower. That's fine. So I think those are fine. Now, that's loading the index. That has to be too lower. That's fine. And now I'm kind of wishing I didn't do that because we decided that the model name as it's given to us by Hugging Face would be its ID, right?
Yeah.
And I should have committed to that 100%
And just made the
everywhere
index the same way.
and made your fault if you did. Yes. And I should have done that, right?
Yeah.
But at this point, even though we don't have a lot of users, I feel like we probably have like sort of that ship has sailed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, look at all that's going on here. This returns a collection of models in the catalog with some filtering. So I'm constructing pulled models and validated models. I'm doing that for some reason. Now I'm doing a strings contain, so it helps maybe to do that. But now I'm putting, but the problem here is now you get a list, right? Of that. The question is this, right? Okay, so this code is just deciding whether we're marking it as, but if you notice this list isn't, we're not changing the display, right? We're not just changing the display of the ID here. But look at all the wasted cycles of
It's just too lower, too lower, too lower.
to lower everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I put money on it. We're going to break some stuff, but I put money on it that since we're doing this for local stuff, I'm going to break a bunch of stuff here. But we don't need to do too lower here. On this, we probably do because I don't know what you're going to pass in as a filter. And I just need that to match, right? And filter's the only thing being used there. Filter's not used anywhere else, right? So I wonder if you do that just for consistent.
That's kind of where
I
my
want to remove the too lower everywhere that we don't need it, other than the indexing right now, Florin, because I don't want to. We have backwards compatibility with the index files, and I think we're sort of stuck there. But we shouldn't be doing too lower anywhere that we don't need it. Absolutely. And this is my fault, right? Like making decisions early on, thinking at one point everything should be too lower for consistency, and then at one point going, ah. Now, when you're running these sort of compare functions, you don't really have a choice if you need the case insensitivity, right? Like that just sucks, but that is what it is. But like I shouldn't need to do that with this. So we're going to test all these screens and make sure they're working. We know what we broke, so that's fine. But anything that is a compare,
I mean, you still need that because you're.
I think so, especially this,
Yeah.
because this filter category can come from anybody, and I think it's fair there. And then the sorting, you know, we could see what happens if we take it out of this and see if we're getting sorting on those lists. This is all easy stuff to spot check very quickly. So We'll have to do all this. But ideally, if we can get rid of all these two lowers, it's also going to help with memory and all the other stuff, because all this is
Just cleaning up
all
the
this is
code.
allocations at the end of the day. And I don't think we can avoid it there. But anything that's going to deal with the hitting an index, we have no choice. Now, equal fold is also, it's reporting whether S and T are equal, right? And so I've already lowered the model ID here. So now I've got to do that. But what a waste of sort of time, right? Ideally, we could try saying like,
Just use, yeah. Like, why didn't do this twice?
again, all this could break. So we're going to have to check all the screens and everything. But then at that point, we could just do this, right? There's just no way around that right now for any sort of backwards. But this might also break. I don't know. So we're good with all that. We're good with that one. This is building an index. We got no choice there. Got to do that. This is live. Of course it's live. Oh, let me drink a little more coffee. Dude, I've been wanting to like, I thought I found all this already. I thought all this kind of got cleaned up.
There's a lot of
Now,
them.
this is a test. I don't care about tests right now at all. Tests. That's fine on the config side. Now, everything on disk is lowercase. Well,
Not really, though.
that's not necessarily true, is it? But I fought on this one because this ID was lowercase. I had a bug here where is this MI coming from? This is a list of, oh, right, entries. This list was retrieve files, but maybe now it's not lowercase anymore after what I just did. Retrieves all the models in a given directory. So it reads the index, which is all damn lowercase,
Yeah.
right? It then gets the model files, does the stats, does that. So that comment is actually wrong. This comment should be everything in the index.
Everything in the index.
Yeah, the index. Everything, right? So that's the problem there, right? Is that we didn't have consistency there. Now, here we're back to this whole idea of listing models, right? Now, so much stuff is going to be broken here, but that's okay. Let's just get rid of it and then see what breaks. I know I can't get rid of that. And this is, what program is this? Oh, log functing, that's fine. And this is documentation. Okay, so we potentially broke everything in terms of lists and screens and stuff. So one way that we can test this right away is some of these commands I can actually just run from the command line.
Okay. Nice.
So like, because of the CLI tool, okay? So I can just start with basically like cronk model list local. Oh yeah, we're gonna definitely have to run this again. But these tests don't the tool packages don't have like massive coverage there, but the server does. So actually, let me do that here so we have a little bit more screen. Well, we could test these locally first. So this is supposed to be all the models on disk. Now, you could see here that from my perspective, these IDs are wrong, right? Because they're all what?
Lowercase.
They're all lowercase.
Yeah.
That's, now that I'm looking at this for the first time, that's a real problem.
But because on disk they're not.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. We keep the natural case. So the only way to properly fix this is to break some backwards compatibility here. If we go back to, luckily it's my project and nobody's using it yet. If we come back here and recreate all the indexes, let's do this. I'll show you how we can do this real fast.
If you are changing paths on disk, can you also remove the dots in the paths?
Who's asking me that?
Florin.
I don't know what he's talking about just yet, but let me do this first here. I'm going to get rid of all the two lower. And we're going to recreate the indexes.
Related to the index. All the two lowers related
Like
to
anything that, yeah, these we have to keep for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to get rid of this, and then we're going to recreate the indexes. Which I think I do when the model server starts anyway. I actually don't know what he's, model ID. I don't know what he's talking about when it comes to dots. What are you talking about with dots? You mean the GGUF? Dots in the path. I'm thinking the model name could have weird characters in it. All right, let's not go down this just yet. That we have to keep, that we have to keep. Everything else is test, which we may have broken, but we'll deal with that later. These are fine. Okay, so essentially now I have to rebuild the indexes. Now, obviously, I've been down this road before. So look what I have here.
Nice.
So this should rebuild the model index. And anytime you make a change, we have to run this, right? Oh, that was using, got to use the local versions.
Mm.
So there's one that you use the cronk server and one you can just run locally.
The make. Running track.
Oh, we got work to do here. Let it run.
So what is it sort of doing? It's rebuilding that index, but it's
also supposed to be validating that the size of the model is accurate to that SHA file that we have.
Oh, okay. I remember now. Yeah.
Now, when the server starts, while that's running, one of the things I did on server startup, I believe, is I rebuild the model index on startup. I don't think I rebuild the catalog index on startup. So let's wait for that to finish.
So this is the model index, not the catalog.
This is the model index.
Okay.
I don't know if I rebuild the catalog index, but we may have to add that to, I think that's what this does. Catalog update. SDK tools, catalog. It's going to be some sort of, Well, let's go to the command side. Cronk catalog update. Oh, it would re-download everything, and then that should maybe fix the index. So, which means I do this too on startup. Yeah, build index. So that would also mean that on startup, I'm sure templates download, right? So I think everybody should be fine. Okay, so that just finished, right?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the index now. Okay,
No.
good. So we're going to get that for free. That gets rid of all that noise. Everything is the way it should be there. And then if we run the other command, which is the catalog update local, my guess is oh, don't be sorry, man. These are things that we had to fix at some level. Like,
Yep.
okay, there's two things here. Let me see what the index. Now the index is still using lowercase.
Yeah.
So that's bad. And these SHAs are the SHAs, so that one's fine. This tells me whether or not there was changes. Like thing. Okay, so this index is still, so either that means to me that it wasn't recreated, which we can look at one more time. So, the way I do things is I just like rewrite stuff, right? So my guess is nothing changed. So, right, files less than, nothing changed, so it didn't rewrite the index.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Now, I might have code in here that says if the index isn't there to create it too. Okay, so at the end of the day, so this is a bummer. So unlike the model, which I knew sometimes would get sort of corrupted, I didn't necessarily do this on the catalog side to rebuild the index. Now, what we could do is on the model side, we had a build index, sort of an exported function for that, right? On the catalog side, I have this build index here, but it's not exported. Now, what we could do, just to try this out for a second. What is it complaining about? Sometimes I don't see it, and I have to do this. Load index. Now that's interesting. So if we do a load index, and it's not there, then it will build it. So I could just delete it and it's going to be fine. But that's not going to help anybody who's been using the server. See what I'm saying?
That makes sense. Yeah.
And so one of the things right now that I can do, you know what might be better though than doing what I'm doing? Let's do it. Let's do this instead. Let's do this instead. This is all catalog, right? Let's keep this Oh, no, I need that one. Let's keep this unexported. Let's just change this. That way, when you go to,
So it just always builds now?
yeah, if you call download to retrieve the latest stuff, we just rebuild the index,
Okay.
right? And then that doesn't have to be an exported function. Now, that means that the way I can trigger this would be with a regular category update, right? So now watch. Now, if I call this, I'm calling what? Download,
Download. Yep.
which will
Build.
now automatically rebuild the index. That's the way to do it, right? I mean, these index files are small. It's not a big deal. Better.
Now it's
That's
there.
what we needed to do. Okay. So now anybody that starts the server will get will fix, or if they're making those calls, everything will be fixed there. So now, if we run, let's do our model list again. Start with models.
Local.
Better.
Nice.
Better, right? Now everything's in the right case.
Yep.
Now, this is also, you see how many models I have downloaded on my machine.
Man, that one's
These would be
70.
models downloaded.
Llama's 70 gigs.
Yeah,
OSS.
that one comes in 2 files, actually.
OSS is big too. 60
And then
gigs.
true means that the SHA matches.
Oh,
what
okay,
we
so no,
expect.
so there's no changes.
So, because you could have a partial download. That's how Florida and I solved the partial download.
Oh, okay. That's how you detected that.
Yeah, because the first thing we do on a download is we download the SHA.
Hmm.
This SHA file tells us everything about that model, the size, and what it should SHA to. So we do that work. So if you see that it says validated, that means that we know that you've got a complete model.
Okay.
Yeah, you have no idea. Now, let's do this list.
But they provide you that SHA.
We found a link that is consistent with all models.
Okay.
So we pulled that file down. Let me just go smaller. Shit,
That might be too small.
it's too small. Hold on. It's too small for me and I'm in front of it. Is that okay?
I think that's good. Yeah.
I can go a little bit more if I do that. Okay. Now, these would just be catalog related models, right? I may have other models downloaded, though I tend to have all these. So I'm sorting this by catalog. I should sort it by catalog and model ID. Let's take a look at that code. And
Oh, as in catalog, and then within each
catalog and then
type.
model ID,
Yeah.
right? Like we should have that.
Yeah.
But this is working, right? Like this is what I expect to see. Let's take a look at that sort for catalog retrieve. I'm sure I have a sort category. Okay. So I don't want to, I'm lazy right now. So this sort needs to be on both a dot category and what is in there actually? A dot ID.
So it should be category first, and then
Yeah.
ID within the category.
Yeah. Just let it fix it.
Sorts by category first, then by ID. If the C is not equal.
The current sorts by both fields. Oh, it is sorting by both fields already.
Return, compare.
So GHIQ. No, it's not. Oh, because it's case sensitive. Okay. I need the ID sort to be case
Oh, and that's where it had the two lower.
sensitive. Yeah, that's why we had the two lower in there.
That's why I had.
All right, so let it put it back. I told you we were going to break shit, but
Yeah.
this is so much cleaner once we're done with this work. Okay. So that's why we had that there. Okay, so we should add a comment. Sorry. Okay, so I don't make that mistake. So that's beautiful, right? Like really, really, really nice. Okay, so the next thing now is let's start the server, see what else breaks, and then we're going to run some tests. Okay, it started. Let's come back here for a second. We still haven't fixed the bug that we started with, but I want to come through here first.
Oh, the
These
overriding.
screens should still be working, right? So here are all the models that I have downloaded. Now, this is interesting. Should I be showing extended models here?
I think so. Because it's a separate option in that other drop down, right?
But originally, I didn't want to show extended models here because this was supposed to be the list of models we have downloaded. Like if you come to pull, or if you select this, which I doubt will work. See, we don't have, like, it, not expecting this. You can't download this model.
Oh,
As
okay.
opposed to,
I see.
though here's not a place where you would download because these were supposed to be already downloaded. So to me, this shouldn't be here. But it's showing up because this is the list of models that you can use.
Yeah.
Right? And so, okay, people will know what that is. So we can fix this. This is not a problem. Let's go back to the app layer here for a second. So the reason that failed is because when we selected on it, we went with show model. Okay.
Yep.
Now we have the same problem we have in some other places. In order to retrieve the model ID, we need to use a function called strings cut. And that gets rid of the separator.
Oh, okay. So cut it right before that extension and then. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that would allow us to use this model on this API call.
Huh.
So now watch. But I know why it's showing up now because we need that to be in the list of models. Now, the question is, should we filter them at the BUI layer? Like, I don't know if it belongs on that screen. Like it's an interesting, these questions always require some level of debate. Like as it relates to this screen, now we see it, okay?
But because it's just, yeah, it's not.
It's an extension model that changed the settings, but on this screen, I'm not sure it should show.
You're not really concerned with those.
Not here, I just want to see the models that are downloaded, right?
But it's also a model that's available.
It's a model that's available as an extension, but I'm not getting any extra information, right? This isn't about showing what the parameter and the configuration is for this. Now, we could, but that's what the catalog is for. So what I think we need to do here Okay. In the GUI, there is a screen that shows the model list. You need to filter out any models that have a slash character in the name. They don't belong in this list. That's not a bad idea.
Oh, that's not bad.
And then they're not selectable. Okay, let's do the following. Okay. Revert that change. Better. Put the extension models, those with a slash in the name, sort of under the main model in the UI, and don't make them selectable. No, but I like that idea because it's there. You see that there's an extension model.
Yeah, they
Let's
would.
see how it plays out. I love that idea.
I think that's a good idea too, because they're all related.
Yeah, the extension model concept is really important because of those settings, right?
Yeah.
But what makes the project so complicated where Olama doesn't have the problem, Olama, though they say you can now work with any Hugging Face model, right? Their whole system's been built on a catalog system. We started without the catalog system. Our flexibility is that you don't need the catalog system.
Yeah.
So we've got to deal with these different modes, and I have to deal with it in a very consistent way, or you see some of the problems that we have. But by doing this, there's this really great sort of flexibility. But there are semantics here that, like even with Florin yesterday, saying, I want to see the extension model because I want to download it. I'm like, that's not a downloadable model.
Yeah, it's just like
right? It's a configuration extension,
yes.
right? But he did want to see it in this list, which was interesting. And originally I said,
But it didn't put it.
now I feel like we're missing. No, I would want to see the whole name here. Plus,
See where I was thinking.
yeah, I don't like the way they did it, but I think it's, first of all, this GM doesn't have. Oh, well, so there's a bug there with the flash because it only showed the FMC,
It didn't show all of them.
which is fine. Oh, there's an 8. Did I put a?
Where's that?
Yeah,
I see that. I see the XL.
I don't think I did a. Hold on. GM flash 80. This is a different bug.
Where is that coming from? Because
GLM 47 flash. It might be in the catalog.
is it?
This is in the catalog, but we definitely don't have it here. Oh, we do.
There
That
it
was
is.
right.
Okay.
That was right. But this isn't a model I'm using in that way. So let's just, shouldn't have that in here. That was my bug. That shouldn't have been in there. I did that maybe by accident. Okay. So I think I want the whole name there.
See, for me, I almost want it like when you click on one of those, it shows you the extensions available as in that sort of window that pops up.
Okay. So let's do the following. Okay. When you show an extension model, provide the full name, and I want all the rest of the columns, the rest of the fields to be empty, right? And only show these extra rows when the model is selected.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian is on the same page as you.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Like, we didn't give it a lot of instruction.
No, it just
And
kind of said
sometimes
do it.
I like to see what it wants to do because it makes.
You get different
I'm not a
aspects.
UI guy, dude. So it gets interesting. But then, like, we can make this tweak, right? All right. Let's see what happens. So we like that.
That's nice.
And then if I click this, there's the 2.
That's better.
But it's loading the model up in my
Yeah.
way, so that one took a little bit. And I have to fix. There's something I wanted to do on the show today to fix some of this, and just haven't gotten to it yet. So that's kind of nice, right?
I like that. No, I wish it had a little more
What?
like a tooltip maybe or something to explain a little more of what it is. Like why that's there.
So under family, we can put extension model.
Maybe. Are those two identical?
No, their settings are different is the real problem. So it's the exact model, but the settings are different, Ian, because what we did is this concept here is a good. So you see you have a base configuration, which this configuration is wrong, by the way. That should be the base. And actually with this. So I didn't even do this right. So this is like the base configuration. Let me double check I did this right for all the extension models. Right. So here's your base. And then the idea is this includes first message caching, system prompt caching. That one's good. That one's now good.
And that kind of depends on whether you're using Klein or
If
using
you're using an agent, you'd rather use first message caching. If you're using Open Web UI, you want to use system prompt caching. They're really changes in config. So my brain says we should just get rid of this. It doesn't belong here. It just doesn't because the information isn't any different.
Yeah.
But it also shows you that these are options.
I don't know. Like
Maybe it belongs.
where would you really be using it in the UI? Like where should it would be more in catalog, right?
It's for the model list. So now if you go into chat, you want to be able to choose, hey, I want to run the FMC or the SPC if I'm in Open Web UI, because I know I'm going to get the system prompt that I have cached, right? And so it's for when you're actually about to interact with the model, you want to use this configuration.
So I feel like it should be there in the model list at some level because you're going to be using it in a model list in your chat.
Right, but these details don't really change. So let me do this then. Let me see how this feels. Okay. For the extension model, under the family column, please put extension model.
Like it almost needs like a little.
The thing is, you're not going to get any extra details from it because I don't show. This is just showing you the metadata, which
yeah, and I don't think it needs that because they're just settings that are different.
Yeah, the settings are just different. And right now we're not showing you settings, but you could see this is where it's hard because you might have a model there that doesn't, it's not part of the catalog and doesn't have any settings at all. Though I
Yeah.
wrote that function to deal with that because then you'd get back all the default ones.
Hmm.
So we could extend this to show you what the default settings would be. That's fine. Let's just keep this
I think
because
that
eventually
works.
you could show the, eventually we could click on that and you could see what the default will be. And then there's sort of value there, right? Like maybe on top you say, hey, this is the default configuration you'd be using with this model. So
Hmm.
I think that's something we can add. But for now, I think this is good. All right.
Yeah.
And so all this is now working. We got back what we wanted. This is the model that I use the most. There's 2 extension models and it loads it up.
Nice. Yeah. That.
We're going to fix that because it's actually loading that in memory. And Florin gave me code that we don't need to load the model in memory to get this stuff anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, it's something else on my list to do. Okay, let's go to the catalog list now. Catalog list looks good. Everything's checked because every one of those models is downloaded. And if I go to the one I use all the time, yep, it's already downloaded. And I can see the information that's part of the, now, what we're missing now is the new settings that we had. So there's now the config that's part of this. Let's have that added to the UI. So Zarf, sorry, SDK tools, more catalog. We now have the sampling config that's part of, okay. All right. So, okay, now I could use the same thread. Okay. On the catalog list screen, we need to add the new sampling config information that is, actually, we should show it here. Yeah. Yes, that is now part of the, yeah, I guess that's what we're using, list model detail, catalog list. Well, it doesn't come out of there. It's going to be this one, right? The show. Show catalog model. Oh, it's missing from here too. Let's see. Okay, so we got to add this. Let's go ahead. See, this, what that other model I was looking at didn't make sense. I think the settings are there and we're not logging them. I see what Florin did. Okay, hold on. What are we calling this, first of all? Oh, man. Okay. I got a bit of a mess here because Florin added the sampling config, which is fine, to the list model details. We're not showing that either. So we're going to make both these changes. But we can also add okay. What should we call this? I don't know what he called it here. Let's be consistent, right? I don't know why he made that a pointer. So we have to think about that. We have to think about why that's a pointer, but we'll get to that in a second. So we've got to add the sampling now. To this. And sampling config, sorry. I don't know if I like that name either, but okay. Now the question here is, pulled it. Can you complete the work in assigning? Let's double check though. We should have a model dot. Yeah, we have it. Let it finish the work. This is why you don't need tab completion anymore. You just tell it to do that.
Yeah, just do it.
And the tab completion just, in fact, SourceGraph got rid of tab completion.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Like,
they threw it away. They said, we're not going to maintain it. Nobody needs it.
I think this is more what, I mean, I haven't used tab completion in a while.
Now, hold on a second. It should be, oh, model config sampling. I'm messing with it while it works, so it's not good. Tools catalog, model config. Huh. We have a full model config and sampling here. With all the work that we just did. So maybe I'd have to create a model config struct, but what's interesting here then is I don't know if we have it here too, though. All right, let's just focus on catalog right now. We'll get back to model. So what this tells me is that we have a full model config now with the sampling.
Okay. Oh, why? Like,
because of all the work I did with, remember, okay, let's stop here for a second so we can sort of reset where we are.
yeah.
The changes I made yesterday were the following. We added the concept of a model config into the catalog.
Okay.
So you could have some default configuration that this model should be running at on average. Now, you might have different hardware. Maybe you support F16 here. Or you don't support the full context window, whatever. So here's your base config.
That's your,
And there's a bunch of settings here, but these are the important ones. Then we went into the model config and added, like we already had this in the model config. So this overrides that.
Got it. Okay.
And then you could always, as an SDK user, override this. But the idea is that you go from SDK defaults, which are here. So there's 3 levels of config now. You have these defaults, or the Llama CPP defaults, which I have to document here.
Yep.
Then That can get overridden by the catalog defaults if you're using a model in the catalog.
Okay.
And then that can get overwritten by what's in your model config if you're using KMS.
Okay.
Though the SDK now could use the model config because it's all one API. And
Huh.
that's when I showed you under examples.
You show me. I thought it was that there. Okay.
You could say retrieve model config, and whether the model's in the catalog or not won't matter. We'll figure out based on all these different things what what the settings will be, and then you can override that even more here.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so we now have this whole model config. So when I'm looking at this, it just triggered me that what we could be passing is the model config and show everything, including the sampling parameters.
Oh, okay. So like one layer up instead of
Yeah,
just the.
so model
Yeah.
config, and then if we go back to examples, these are your sampling parameters, right?
Got it. Okay.
So if we come back here, I don't want this to be sampling. I want this to be model config. But now I need a model config.
There's a F.
Yeah, I know. That's
okay.
fine. So what we need now, you see this model config?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I essentially need to take this, come back here, put that here. I need to change all this to JSON, right? Then I need a to function, or no, we'll just do it in here. So now I need the sampling config, which I have here. I'm going to move this for now. Oops. I might not even need the to function anymore, but I'll deal with that in a second. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this, I think, but now I've got a sample config. I'm sorry. That has the sample config in it. That is now a model config. This can be model config, right? This is complaining because
The extra, yeah. The extra F.
oh, good. And now what I really want okay, I need you to fill in the fields for the model config.
So you're doing that instead of a two.
Yeah,
Instead
because
of the
I
two.
have the data. I might as well send all of it and put it on that screen. This is all the work we did the last couple of days with the different configs at the model level, and now we're doing the sampling parameters. But I don't need a to, well, we have the to for that. But what I would say here is replace the to sample config call with the actual fields. I don't think I need that function.
So when would you want that to function rather than just?
I want it on the response, that final response where you got something from a business where like the tools, and now that's what you want to send, that specific thing. but you got to convert it into an app layer model, which is what these are.
Hmm.
But I don't need that here. I'm already doing this sort of construction. Like what we did on the catalog was wrong,
Okay.
but I'm only realizing it now because of this, right? Like now we're going to render model config and sampling in the UI. But look, this solves that problem, right? Now, I don't think I need this. Now it's going to go red up there, but that's fine because when we return the model information, this model details, see what he did here? Why can't this be model config?
One layer up.
Let me see. I know that it's already down there, but that's fine. And then this is where we do the construction, right? Now, he did the extended. That's fine. So let's do this. Okay. Omit empty. And then when we ask for the extended, okay. Now, let me see what we have here. So this is where I got to see what he did, because my guess is we have the model information. So he passed in, I need to see where this function is. Okay. So what do we have when we do this? We retrieve the model files.
Yep.
I get a model config, right? I have a model config. He creates we create a file value.
Extended config, and then this sampling.
Now, he's using the model config. I see. He's keying in which model config for a given sampling config, right? So what I'm saying here is, then this should be model config.
Do it the other way.
Right. And even better yet, it shouldn't be that. It should be catalog.model config here. Then I don't need this call here. Now I just do model config. And I call this model configs. Now we're going to pass in the model configs as this map, right? And then this will be called model configs. Now, this is kind of cool because now if it's extended, we do this. And then this is really detail.model config equals address of a model config. All right. And I'm going to have the model just do all of it, right? Okay. So please, map all the fields for the detail model config from the MC variable. See, I didn't need that other stuff. Now, I don't blame Florent for the decisions he made. He is using the AI, and he doesn't have an intimate mental model of this as much as I do, right? But you see how much nicer that is.
Okay. Now you have everything.
Now, he was calling something called with defaults, which I'm no longer using. So we have to do one more thing here. He was using this with defaults. And what the with defaults was doing was, given the sampling config we had, giving you a complete picture, right?
Yeah.
And that wasn't a bad idea. Now, what that means is that let me see, MC dot right. Which means is that we need to use this here. See?
Okay.
And that gives us the proper thing. Now, my argument then would be we probably need to also do it here, right? You know, why? Why do you got to be difficult? And that just fills in the blanks.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I don't know if I like this API. With defaults, returns a new sampling config with default values applied to any zero value fields, right? Like, you have to remember we need to do that. Now, I just wonder, that's sensible. And then this starts with those defaults and then sort of overrides them. So, but my question would be, why not at the creation of this are we not doing all of that already, right? So this is going to cause problems from an API perspective because people are going to forget. So
Okay.
like the first question I have is sort of, where are we using this outside of this? And I don't see, this scares me a little bit. Okay, that's fine. Let's use there. Okay, so this might be a part of that bug that we originally saw because,
Okay.
right, I don't think we need this stuff if we're properly extracting it. You know what I'm saying? Now, we have a function here that is called retrieve model config. That's what reads the model config here. Okay. The funny part is when we're working with Go, we need to do everything. I don't understand that at all. I'm not sure that's true. Now, look at this function here, retrieve the model config. Look at what it does. We figure out the file path for that.
Yep.
We look to see, this has always got to be true. You got to have it on disk.
Yep.
Does this model that we're looking for also exist in the catalog, right? And then does it also exist in the model config itself? Okay. So if it exists in the catalog, we do all this. If it exists in the model config, we do all this. But the one thing we're not doing now, let me just see something. Right? We're not doing the sampling. Now, what's weird to me, hold on. What's weird to me is the model config has the sampling config, right?
Yeah.
And it should all get filled in, whatever all that is. Right. So if I come back to this, what we need to be doing is what here? What is the model config? We got back a model config. We're trying to set up the CFG, right? The CFG, which is this model config here.
Okay.
Now, this is what we pass. Okay, this is the problem. I see what's happening. This function is passing just the model config as it relates to passing that to cronk.
Okay.
So we don't see anything related to parameters in here because that's part of a request. Okay.
Yes.
So when we retrieve this model config, we're trying to just focus on the model. What Florin has now done is sort of blended the model config with
parameters,
with sampling parameters. And right, that's fine here. Okay. I mean, but that's what he's, I don't have an example here, right? He's sort of mixing two ideas here. Okay. So you have your model config and then you have these sampling parameters. So, so what's happening here is, you know, the model config, it does have all this information in it. That's fair. But when we retrieve the model config from the catalog, we're not that, right? We're trying to create one of these. So my first thought is the following. We could return a third parameter out of here, which would be the sampling. Right?
Okay. And keep it separate from
return it, but return it separately, because now what he's done here, what I've done here is I'm not calling retrieve. I'm pulling back all of the model config. Now this is for list models though. We were looking at, I was looking at show, right?
Yep.
Well, even this one right here. So here's the problem, right? So retrieve model details just brings back the model catalog, which means that we don't have the sampling in there. So what we have to do is the following, because it's a separate sort of thing. We need to retrieve model details, which returns the model config. Okay, hold on. Let's go back. That returns a model config. And I'm trying, do I need the with defaults is the thing. And the answer is yes, because all that we got back was the changes that we made. Was the changes we made in the config, but it doesn't reflect a complete sampling with all the defaults. So actually this works. That works there. And we just have to double check this because, and this is the call to list. Okay. Oh, were there changes made to this? Oh, shoot. Yeah, when that happens, you don't save. And you come back and then, I don't know, wherever I was. That always scares me because I asked it to make a change here,
Yeah.
which it looks like it made on 160, and I lost track of it.
Right there. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, and it did that. So, but I wanted to see what data it was getting. So how is it getting the model config is the question here. And in this case, it was getting the raw model config, which is probably fine. So in this case, it's just getting back the raw model config, everything that we had in there. And then it's using that model config with the defaults, and that should work great. When it comes to, when it came to this time we did a retrieve, right? We're looking for show the model. We did a retrieve. We got back models info. This one doesn't feel right because this is a show model detail. Yeah. Where's the other place we were using sampling again? Here we expected it. For the catalog. This was for the catalog response. This is to list models info. To list models info, which is list models. So Florin, when we call list models, you are sending, this is the wrong thing to do. This was wrong. This information doesn't belong here. It belongs here.
And show model?
Yeah, because that's when we return all the details for the bottom, not the top.
Yeah.
So what's happening is he's returning list on the list models, all this extra data, but that's not where it belongs because that list is just trying to show list details. Like you need to show those parameters not on the list grid, but on the
Once you
show.
click into it and
Yeah.
then it loads the model and does the thing, you want it to show there.
Yeah, that's when you need it. I mean, that's what we just did for the catalog. So if you go back to catalog, right? This is the show catalog where you specify which model. Retrieve it, boom. So as far as I'm concerned, this should not be returning the details.
List models shouldn't have the details.
No, this was wrong. This was wrong. This was wrong. We got to fix this. This doesn't belong here. This didn't belong here. That was a list call. What this belongs, everything's going to go red. That's okay. where that belongs is here.
Show model. When you click on a specific one. It should go there. Okay.
That's where that belongs.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to get rid of all this. It doesn't belong there, right? Let's go back to show. Go back here. Just thinking about where to put that. I kind of got to clean this up, but oh no, we do it after. So model info response, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to pass the model configs here. Okay, so that's fine. Let me go back to list for a second where he was doing some stuff. Oops. I hate when I hit the wrong button. He was pulling the model config. We were already doing that here, right? So I need this, and I need sort of this. And then I got to come back here on model show. And pass this, pass this. That's what the model config looks like, right? See, now I've got model configs, fine. And then I'm assuming we look up the ID. Then we want to put this in mir, right? Nice. And we can return. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now what we've done is passing this information with the show. And I honestly don't think that needs to be this because
Pointer.
because it's not going to affect. I don't think we need any of this because it's not going to affect that models API, which is what he was worried about, right? So what I'm thinking is we can do this.
Just put it all in. Okay.
I could do it right. get rid of all this. Don't need the
bool.
extension flag anymore. I don't know. I gotta put that there. We'll figure that out in a second. I lost all that, but I'm gonna fix all that. I don't need this anymore. Who cares? Just send it if you have it.
Yeah.
Right. This now comes from. Let me put it back for a second. Moving too fast, right?
Model config.
I still had to do a lookup
Hmm.
for model ID. I still have to do that. But that's okay. Okay, I see what happens here. Hold on. Let's see something.
Because you still need to look up because you have to get it for that specific model. Or you're choosing to show.
Right? Oh, wait a second though. I first need the model. I need the model config. So let's just do that. If it comes back empty, it is what it is, right? So maybe we keep the pointer in case we don't have it, right? Look, we keep the pointer in case we don't have it. And then I do a model config variable. Actually, we'll just call it MC. In fact, we just do it like this. I don't know how best to do this. If we don't find it, okay, let's do it this way. If we do find it, then model config will equal MC. And then I need the sampling, but sampling can equal this, right? Just replace it with that.
Okay.
Now I don't need any of this.
Huh.
And catalog model config, right? There has to be a conversion of this, but we'll do that here. So let's change this type to be this, right? That will now let me do the assignment. Let me set that, and then I'll just tell, hey, can you oh no, we have to do that up here. So we have to do that up here. Okay, so this still has to, this has to be this. All right. All right, so here we have to do model config equals the address of the model config. Fill in the gaps here. Fill in the gaps here. But we got to do the sampling first. So we say that MC.sampling equals this. Just to put all the defaults in. And now I can say, can you fill in the struct on line Make sure it's saved. Line 176. Map those fields. So now we go and we look. Is this model part of the catalog? If there's a match, then we can return the model config as part of this model list.
Okay.
If not, then it's nil and we don't show it. And then it's part of the show. So now in both shows, we have this. Okay, so now this was the entire 2 hours. Damn it. Not what I wanted to work on. Okay, let's start with show model. Okay. The models list screen in the BUI shows the details when the model is selected. The API call is show model. We just added something new to the response. Oh, and we said now that we don't need the extended anything. We don't need extended anymore. We're going to do it regardless. Okay. Cool. So we now added something new to the response. It's the model config with a sampling config. We need to show these. We need to show these values as two separate but new sections for the show in the BUI. See what it does. And then we got to do the same thing for the catalog.
Okay. That was a pretty big refactor.
Much bigger than I had expected, because I didn't get to do, I didn't get to look at that bug, and I didn't get to do what I want to do, which was a VRAM calculator.
Oh, that's cool.
I figured out all the math.
Oh.
I know how to do it now. All this config helps with it though. Okay. And then let's just say, need to do the same thing for the catalog show in the BUI. This is the API call. Oh, shoot. Why add decline? That's not what I wanted. Man, they moved that to the top.
Like right to the top, yeah.
Bastards.
Setting you up.
I know, like what the hell? I don't know why it's not jumping. Let's try again. Oh, yeah, what the hell? Am I choosing the wrong thing?
You put go to type definition. Go to...
I always said go to definition. Oh, now Klein is gone. I don't understand what happened there. Oh, maybe Klein was active. I somehow switched to it and then it showed up in the menu.
Maybe.
And The new response model is here on line 385 in all right. It would be super interesting if this stuff just shows up.
Oop.
Considering I did a lot of hand coding today. But sometimes I feel like I have to hand code because it's like surgery.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when it's not surgery, I'll let the model do a little bit more. But when it's this kind of level of surgery and the project's getting bigger and bigger, and I have to just, and plus I'm looking at some changes Florin made, and but I think we cleaned all this up and put everything in the right place.
I think so too. I think separating.
That stuff didn't belong in list; it belonged in show.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens. The good thing is, and I'm always looking to see if anything SDK-wise has changed. And the only thing SDK-wise has changed is this, but I asked it for that to make everything exported so we can use it.
Okay.
We needed to do that to fix. We added some new models here. So that's good. We fixed the two lower stuff. I'm going to have to run the tests, which we haven't done yet, but.
A lot of big changes in this
Okay.
session.
I'm going to start completely over here. Localhost, models list. Okay, this is good, right?
Good.
Now, let's look at this model, which I use a lot.
Extension model. Nice.
Again, it's loading the model for details. I can't wait to fix that. That would be like this when I fix that, because it can read the GGUF file directly.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, that description, metadata, model config.
And rank sequences too.
Now, I used the Excel, right? See, now this gets interesting. To select that and pull the model detail now gets interesting because of
That's
this,
what's going to change.
right? So let's, okay, but this worked. We agree.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to catalog list. Look at the same one. Okay.
That's what's going to change with the extensions.
Yes, I want to see that change. Yep. So now I wonder if the extensions need to be in here too. Okay, so what time is it? Okay, we got 8 more minutes. I like all of this so far. What I want to do, first of all, that's a miracle.
Yeah.
What I want to do before we do anything else, and all this has been done on his branch. I got to shut this down. Let's run the tests. Let's have a little yoo-hoo. Run the tests. If the tests don't blow up, then I'm going to commit this to this branch, and then sort of start clean.
Yeah.
With this next change, because now we want that to happen. We want that to be selectable. I still want it underneath.
But we definitely want that selectable, and that because those fields would change for the
Now, while the tests are running,
caching.
let's take a look at something. Because this gets interesting. Let's go back to the route for a second. Let's start with list. No, show. At this point, they're going to send the /x. You see? Now,
The /x.
The slash,
like
right?
yeah.
Right? Now, I cut that to retrieve model information because that's reading the file system and it's never going to find the slash, right?
Mm-hmm.
That returns file information. Fine. I then stupidly, this is what I want to fix. I have to acquire the model, which really sucks. Now, acquire model is already doing a cut, my guess is somewhere here. No, I don't have to do that because I load that model with that special config, right? See, retrieve model config here.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. The problem now is this. The to model, because I return the model config, but it has to read the model config not with this model info. You see what I'm saying? It has to read it with the model ID that I passed in. You see, gets interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because now I have to do the following. I forgot what we named this last time. File system model ID. Right. But this model ID, okay, cache acquire. See, this has to use this model. I'm going to fix this, but unfortunately, it has to use this model ID now. Now, one way to fix this if I do that, right, I change out the model ID for the one that was passed in, then we're going to use model for the model ID everywhere. I'm not using MI for the ID. But, using the first parameter, which is MI here.
Yeah.
What a confusing thing.
MI.
How confusing is that?
I was gonna ask you that. Why is there?
Why are we passing it in twice?
Because one is models.info and one's model.
Yeah, one is
like
they're
singular.
two separate things. This is like file info, really. Object ID. And this is model info. Very confusing, right? Model info and info. So what we really should do here is call this info, and that's model info. And if I come back here, we should call this info.
Okay.
And as long as we're using info here, which we are, and there we are, this is going to be fine. The other option also, just to be safe, right? Just to do that. Now you're safe. You're changing it in both. Well, you don't know that. Oh, you do know that. See, now we're safe here with the show because we should have the right model ID. The problem is that when we look it up on the file system, we have to use that. Now, that is this show model. What happens? Let's see if it's broke. Oh, it's still running. What happens if we do this? retrieve model details, load index. So now we're going to have a problem here because it's not going to find the extension model right in there. However, retrieve, that returns the file. Tells us where to look. So what does this return? Okay, this returns information from the catalog for that given model inside the catalog, right? So in this particular case, yeah, in this particular case, it's interesting. I'm retrieving the model details from the catalog, but this just should be smarter. You see, when I say retrieve model details here, it's only giving me information from the catalog itself. It's not taking into account what's happening in the potentially in the model catalog. This, right?
Okay.
So if we think about this for a second, here we would want to do the cut command. I was hoping to find the cut command real quick, but I didn't find it. So, oh shit, bro, I just lost it. Let me come back here for a second anyway.
There it is. Yep.
So this needs the catalog model ID.
Okay.
However, this would want to use the full name. Okay.
Okay. I see that.
I passed. Okay.
Nice. Tests pass.
But now I'm in the middle of this already because I'm
Yep.
a dumbass. So let's do this, right? All right. Let's just finish this. See, now, why would this fail is the first question. It could fail for a bunch of reasons there. Oh, look at this. Whoa. Yeah, but this is the problem, right? Because I can pass in, okay. I don't have to cut this. Oh, but that's why I'm using it, because retrieve model details won't give this to me, right? So I'm going to do this. And this will give me a full model config. Okay, so, but, okay, there's reasons why it could fail, right? So let's just do the same thing we do there. Fine. Now, what do I have at this point? I have a model config, right? Okay. I have a model config. So what we should do, I think, is not use this model config. We should use this model config, right? For all of this. I do that so much. And then up here,
let's see.
no, let's see something here. This model config. Let's think about this for a second. This model config doesn't have the sampling.
No.
And it shouldn't. So this would be the proper model config for that extension model. However, there's something missing now, right? Because this model config here is only specific to what was in here. The idea now is that I retrieve the model config. But why is the sampling not in there?
The sampling's not in there at all.
Remember, we did the sampling separate.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's another call we need. Didn't we do this sampling separate? Damn it. I thought we did the sampling separate. It's just too much to keep in your head, man.
It is a little hard to wrap your head around.
It's just too much to keep in my head. The sampling just threw another just world of hurt here. Okay. Now I got to go back and remember how we got sampling, because the model config has sampling. We did something. See, I don't like when nothing goes red here.
Yeah.
It's like I'm back to this one problem that we started again.
Yeah.
Like, how is sampling getting set here, right? Because, oh, we're reading it. Oh, this is just to read it out of the YAML. I think we have to use with defaults. Everything has to do with with defaults again. Okay. This API sucks.
I'm a little bit confused with all the different model configs.
No,
I
I
feel
have
like there's
one. The good thing is I have one. The problem is you can set it in 3 different places.
that's the problem. That's what's getting me.
Right? Well, it's getting me too, but it has to. Okay. Again, I want to finish this. So let's go back to where we were here. Let's go back here. show catalog. We did this. We got a model config. We come here. We're missing something. I know we are. I just don't know what. I won't know until I can do some more debugging. So where is this? So to catalog model response. Where is that being used? So on the list catalog, but now I want a model oh, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. That does not feel right. When we do the list, we call model list. Oh, but that's not what's blowing up.
A two catalog.
Oh, that is blowing up here.
That has list, and then
Okay, so this doesn't feel right. When I call, give me a list of catalogs, it gets this list. It then passes that list to this. But this makes me feel like we're using the same response for both list and show. Because this is showing one model config and the other one. Okay, so we're using this, unfortunately, we're using the same. This is not good. It's why I always separate this shit, man. How is that not a collection? Oh, there's a type that is a collection. Okay, so this is what I know now. In this particular case, we don't want to pass the model config in. So we have two choices here. I can make this a pointer. And now we only set that if that is not nil, right? This has to change. So we're only using one. We're using a different. I'm using this for a collection of this for the list, and then I'm using this for the show. So
okay,
that's bad because now I'm filling all this information. We don't need it. It like just makes it. When it comes to the list, I don't need this. So what I got to do is say, okay, when MC equals nil, we don't want to attach the
model config.
Model config to the response. I'm going to let it do it because I can't even think about that anymore. And then I got to pass nil on the list side.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I got to separate these two things. Like, you see what happens when you start using a data model for two different things.
Yeah.
You
Now.
lose this sort of flexibility.
Yeah.
And now that definitely has to be a pointer too, right? So this is bad. This is why when people want to use a single data model, things start to get really complicated. Today, I'm going to have to ask the AI to separate
And do it.
separate into two separate models. So this one,
And that'll get rid of that nil
yes, it gets
condition.
rid of the nil because we don't need it.
Yeah.
I need a separate data model for this to keep it clean. This is the problem that we just ran into. And that's why it's so confusing. So now it found the nil for me too.
Done.
Okay, and now you can see what it did, which is good. Only add this when you have it. Okay, let's see what happens. And then we got to finish for today. But the tests passed, so that was good. But I bet you there's still a bug there because I just don't like the way we mixed sampling with model config.
Mixing concerns.
We added something that like doesn't belong there, right? And it's throwing. I understand why we put it in there, but it's not really a model config concern. It's a
parameter.
It's a sampling concern, right?
Yeah.
And so it's causing a tremendous amount of pain here. Now, we just go back and look at this again real quick. We get the model loading. Oh, I forgot to tell it I want that to be selectable. Okay, so now on the model list screen in the BUI, the model extensions are not selectable. We want them to be selectable now because the model details will be different. So now we should see this change if we're doing it right, right? But
I think that's it, right? Or the
gotta do it on both sides, but okay, let's see what happens. Got a lot of work to do today. I gotta do this. I gotta get the calculator in so we don't have to load a model to look at that screen.
Oh, but you're gonna use the calculator to.
The calculator will know how to read that. I'm gonna take that code and put it in the right place in the web app. So when we're getting these details, there was that one place here where you saw it say this.
Acquire model, yeah.
I shouldn't have to do that. So that's going to go away once we're...
Okay.
Okay. This, there it is. This.
Oh.
It didn't work. It did.
It did, but it closed. Okay, and it did change. So that's a UI thing.
Okay. So
it needs to.
When I selected the extension model, the list box closed the sublist, and so we need to make those models the same font color as the non-extensions and show that as selected when we do select it to see the details. We're really close though. But how nice is this now? Because now I'm going to move model configuration and sampling parameters
up
at the top.
Yeah.
Also, that says 7.
Which is correct.
Which is correct.
Yeah.
This is the one I'm using.
708 20 1.05 2008. I don't see the other one.
He's not showing the repeat penalty.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. Yeah, repeat penalty is 1.
It's not
It
decimal.
should be 105, but maybe it's not showing as a float.
Yeah.
Top P08. Okay, let's ask. And let that finish. Is the repeat penalty on the God, we're so close, bro. I don't know how this is working. Oh, that with defaults, that API just sucks. I have to sort of rethink that out, but there's it just sucks.
Almost
I have to rethink that.
like diagram it out so you can just see it in front of you.
I know why we have it, because he wants a complete picture with all the defaults. It's just confusing because if you don't do that, then you're getting a 0 value. And like that should be done. That should be done at a point where you don't have to do it yourself. Like once I get the sampling object, it should be right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I have to look at the code and figure out how to get rid of that API. So that's already applied at the time that we're doing things. Once I do that, that confusion goes away. Because then there's 2 different versions and that sucks.
Yeah. I might just be using the.
Are we not using a float for a repeat penalty?
Is it there?
Yeah,
oh,
it's
yeah,
right here.
it's there. Float. Yep. It might be just a UI thing. That
Well,
it's
the other one's showing it. So yeah, I'm assuming this is a UI problem.
okay. There it is. It's changing something now.
Okay, so let's do this one more time. Once this code is working, I can release it. Okay, so let's go to list. Let's go to my model. I didn't want this in gray, but okay. Oh, I told you to put it at the top. So now we've got, did I tell it to put it at the top?
I feel like nothing got.
I feel like we lost it.
Like
No.
nothing changed.
Yeah.
I don't think anything
changed. Let's.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah. Boom. Now everything's at the top. First message cache. On
the repeat penalty.
Yeah.
Where?
Right here.
So that feels wrong, but.
And it changed these to just all use 2 decimal places.
Okay, so that was bad. Okay, so you broke fields that were working. Temperature was showing 0.7, and now it shows 0.70.
Yeah.
Top P was showing 0.8, and now It's oh, but there could be.
I mean, there could be
Could be.
85,
That's fine,
0.85.
but so
Yeah.
the repeat penalty is showing. I was expecting 5, so just double check your code. We'll bug that as well. Okay, but this is working, right? Now if I go here,
Prompt
okay.
cache, nice.
So I just got to deal with that problem, which I'd have to log it to see.
It's just weird that the others are showing and that one's not.
Yeah, it could be me. It could be a front end. My guess is that it's a front end problem, but yeah, I will. Let's not have it do anymore for a second. Now, here's the next one, right? I haven't done anything here. So now the catalog isn't showing the extension models, but maybe it shouldn't. This is supposed to be specific to the catalog, right?
Oh, okay. In the cat. Okay.
And then these are the defaults for the catalog. So I think this is right. So in the BUI for the catalog show screen, yeah, let's just leave this. But that is definitely supposed to be, oh, catalog, right. I don't even show that there. So when we see the sampling parameters for this model here, yeah, it's using the default. See how it says temperature's 8, right? That would be the defaults for params. Yeah. Okay. I wonder if we even show sampling. Yeah, that's fine. It's showing the actual defaults that you would get because we don't have sampling parameters there. But I don't think we should put the extension models here. I think this should just be for the catalog. So then this is working. So I have support for it if we ever want to do it. Wow. I have support for it because we made that one change in here. Yeah. Okay. This is all working. So other than that parameter, which I will test out. So for now, git commit SM. So we have the sampling parameters with config working.
Cool.
Oh, this is a foreign. I'm just going to merge this to main. Let me see where I'm at here. Let's just merge this to main. And then what I'll do is I'll run some more tests. But it will be good to get this in main. And then I'll have a release at the end of the day.
Cool. I do have to jump in a call here.
Yeah. So we're gonna finish up. All right, let's just go back here. I'll do this on my own. We went way overboard as we always do. But you're seeing me work and how I work, and we did exactly not what I expected to do on the show, but we did it. So going to Brussels on Thursday, and won't be back till Tuesday, so we won't have another show for a week.
Okay.
But I'll see everybody then. Bye.